Hello and a warm welcome back to the channel of Motoring Nonsense and a sight that is rarer than a nymphomaniac panda. It is an electric hatchback or a saloon. It is the new Kia EV4. It comes in two body styles, the hatchback, which everyone in the UK will buy, and the saloon, which literally everyone who doesn't live in Europe will buy. Let's find out if it's any good. If you want a Kia EV4, you're going to have to cough up £34,700 for the entry-level Air model with the smaller of two battery choices. The most popular one in the UK is probably going to be the mid-spec GT line with the bigger battery. That's just over 39 grand. Now, this is a top-spec GT line S, it's a press car with the bigger battery, and yeah, this one is £44,000, so it's definitely going to incur the luxury car tax here in the UK. You can add a heat pump for 900 quid more, but only on the top spec model, which is a bit miserly. And if you want the saloon, the Fastback, you can add 2 grand to most of the numbers I've just said, but you can't get that in the basic trim. Right, now your brain and my brain have recovered from statistics rigor mortis. Let's talk about the actual car. It's a hatchback. Yay, a rare thing these days. This one is actually the first Kia EV made in Europe. This is made in Slovakia, where they used to make the C''D or whatever we're meant to call it these days. The saloon is still made in Korea. But look at it. I think it looks quite striking for a hatchback. It certainly looks more interesting than a Volkswagen Golf. You've got LED headlights on all of them. You get fancier ones with cubes and blocky, outy, other trafficy stuff on the GT Line S model. Daytime running lights. It's got active aero in there to help with range as well. Comes in 5 colours for hatchback, 6 colours for the saloon. This blue is probably the most interesting. There's a magma red, which sounds really fiery, but really just looks like you've got blood in your stool. And yeah, I think it's quite a nice looking thing. It's on the eGimp platform, so the electric platform that underpins most of the other Kia EVs. And you can essentially think of this as a Kia EV3, the SUV, that's been shrunk down, because all the battery and motor options and lots of the interior are exactly the same as that car, which is not actually always a good thing, as we'll find out when I bang my head repeatedly inside. You might think this is a Golf rival, and you would be right in the size department. If you can avert your eyes from the bin full of dog poo next to this car, you'll see that it's 4.4 metres long. If you get the saloon, it's 4.73 metres long. That gets a big rear end protuberance, like the best of us do later in life. And that is the slipperiest version of this, with a coefficient of drag of 0.23. This is 0.27 or something like that. But anyway, it weighs 1.9 tonnes. They all come with front and rear parking sensors and a reversing camera, so you're getting quite a lot of kit for your money. And also what you can't see is that underneath, this is the important bit, 82.5% is covered up with a big sheet of plastic, I guess, for aerodynamic efficiency. This wasn't the most exciting bit of the review. Maybe I should have got the poo bags to play a more important role. Interior wise, the EV4, as I said, nicks pretty much everything from the EV3, apart from the annoying stupid table thing, thank God. But that means that they all get a 12-inch screen in the middle, whichever version you get, with your wireless CarPlay and Android Auto. It's fine, it's nice and easy to use. And you've got the often forgotten little screen next to it that's always there for your climate controls. But as in all Kias, when you're driving, it's sort of hidden behind the steering wheel rim. Digital dashboard as well in this one. It's all very easy to use. There's lots of physical buttons for things like the door mirrors. I've got to say that these days, because not every car has that. Drive mode selector on the wheel, and to turn off the ADAS systems. The speed limit warning bong, it's just holding the mute button in, and then there are buttons to turn off the lane keeping assist, which is great. That's actually a really good usability feature. Yeah, storage wise, you've got a wireless charger and lots of space down there. Door bins, again, not really that big in this car. They're okay. Glove box is okay as well. It's perfectly pleasant, to be honest. This one has got a sunroof, which doesn't come all the way back, and the seats are set quite high for a hatchback. So even with that on its low setting, I've been banging my head into the sun visor and this area when I'm moving around in my seat at junctions. So yeah, not a great platform for making a hatchback on, I would argue. Now, in terms of kit, they all get heated front seats and a heated steering wheel. This, being a top spec one, has got loads of other stuff. So it's got ventilated seats, it's got an 8-speaker Carman hard-on sound system. You only get 6 speakers in the other models. Also gets a head-up display and a 360 camera, and relaxation seats, so these lay back so you can have a nap when you are charging. There's also some cool stuff in the infotainment system. There's ChatGPT assistant. There's also a theatre mode, so you can watch Netflix, Disney Plus, and all that kind of good stuff when you're charging too. And you've got a whole bevy of charging ports down there. So it's nice. As we're going to find out in the driving bit, it's a bit ergonomically compromised if you're tall. Right, the first thing I noticed about backseat space in the EV4 is how wide the doors open, which will make getting a child seat in now very easy. Headroom is just about okay. I'll stick a quick bit of footage of the saloon in because I think it's going to be worse in that because of the roof line. I haven't actually got any room for my feet under my front seat, which is as low as it will go. But yeah, you've got a flat floor in here. Middle seat's a bit narrow because it's not a very wide car. You've got a pull down armrest, USB-Cs here, really small door bins that will just take a single Coke bottle, small Coke bottle. Yeah, it does feel a little bit claustrophobic, especially with this jutting up. And when I shut the door, yeah, I do feel a bit condemned in here. The window line is actually quite low, but there's just a lot of black plastic sort of here where you're going to be looking out, sitting back, and the sunroof doesn't cover the back seats either. So it's sort of all right. I've just hit my head. Yeah. Right, I've just hopped over to the Fastback. That's the saloon version, and yeah, back seat headroom is really a lot more limited in this. I'm not even all the way back. I'm touching my head on the ceiling, and I still have the same lack of footroom as well. But there we go. Around the back, I think the EV4 looks totally different to any other hatchback on sale, which is always a good thing. The rear end of the saloon obviously looks vastly different to this. I'll stick some shots of that in. But yeah, it can tow only up to a ton on the bigger battery, 500 kilos on the smaller battery, which is a bit miserly, to be honest, but not many hatchbacks can tow all that much, really. In terms of boot space, you've got 435 litres on this hatchback, 490 on the saloon, but obviously it's got a saloon opening. It'll be a bit less practical, but you can stack it higher. Yeah, under the boot floor, you've got a shallow tray there for some cables, got some bits at the sides there. It's just, you know, a normal boot. No clever features, levers or anything like that. Don't even think there's a 12-volt socket hiding anywhere. So it's a back to basics hatchback motoring. I don't mind that, to be honest. And as I've said, you get a reversing camera on all of them and an electric closing boot on this top spec one. You can get the Kia EV4 with a choice of two battery packs, either a 58 kilowatt hour or an 81 kilowatt hour, and they'll do either 273 miles on paper or 388 miles on paper if you get the entry-level Air model with the big battery, which no one's really gonna do. You can add 20 miles to those figures as well for the saloon. They all fast charge up to 129 kilowatts, so it's gonna take half an hour to get from 10 to 80% on a charge. Now, in terms of real world range and the economy I've been getting, I'm gonna stick it on screen now, while someone drags a metal bucket across the floor. Right, so let's go for a drive in the Kia EV4. It's usual Kia EV stuff. You put the foot on the brake and you twist the gear selector here. And that's when you notice the first problem with this car is that this platform, I think, was really designed with SUVs in mind. So the battery pack forces the floor up. So yeah, my knee actually hits the gear selector quite a lot of the time, being 6'3", and this is as low as it will go, and I'm in the right position for driving. And then when I sit forward at junctions with the sunroof, I hit my head there, I hit my head there. It isn't great, to be honest. If you're tall, I'd recommend against it, but hopefully you're not 6'3". You might actually have hair though, which I don't, which would push your height up even more. But to drive, it's actually very easy. It's very easy going. It's nice and softly suspended. It doesn't crash over bumps like some big heavy electric SUVs. It's just very genteel, and it drives a lot like one of Kia's old hatchbacks in that it's not really fun. The steering is a little bit vague, but it's not too bad. You just kind of gently meander down roads in comfort and being calm, to be honest. There's nothing to be gained from driving it sportily, even though there is a sports driving mode down here, which makes the lights go red, which is quite cool, and obviously sharpens up the throttle response as well. Now, you've got 201 horsepower and a 0 to 62 time of about 8 seconds, just under 8 seconds, but when you're coming out of greasy junctions, it doesn't wheel spin too much. It's mostly neat and tidy. And when you're up to 60, 70 miles an hour, there's not much road or wind noise. It's impressively refined. So yeah, it's not the most memorable thing to drive, but when was a Kia ever memorable, apart from the Stinger with its 3.3 litre turbocharged V6? And the saloon version of this is actually Kia's first saloon since they killed off the Stinger, which makes me a little bit sad, but here we are. Yeah, the view out the back corner of this hatchback isn't great. So the 360 camera on this top spec one is quite handy when you're parking, but yeah, you just have to keep your wits about you a little bit and do your shoulder checks as usual. It's not too much of a blind spot here either, unlike the Kia EV9 that I'm driving at home at the moment. Yeah, it's not a car I'm going to think about in my dreams, put it that way, but it is nice and comfortable. And as a family hatchback, to be honest, that's mostly what I want. The wireless CarPlay works well. The dashboard's nice and easy to read. It's easy to turn off the advanced driver assistance stuff, which is a blessing these days, isn't it, to be honest, all the bonging that cars tend to be doing. Performance on a wet road is actually pretty punchy. It does torque steer a little bit over some of the lumps and bumps, but it gets you to 60 quicker than you might think from that 8-second 0 to 62 time. And yeah, it's not a wayward, out of control feeling car on a bumpy road at 60 miles an hour. It controls its mass quite well, and it doesn't feel too wide either, which is great. Sometimes SUVs feel wide because they're tall, even if they're not all that wide. This, sitting lower than you would normally, not much lower, a bit lower, makes you feel less like you're ploughing into a deer when you come around a corner and there's animals everywhere. Does that happen to you? It happens to me. One last thing before we throw back to me for an outro is the calm and hard on sound system. I've been playing some quite bassy music. I've not fiddled with the settings, they're just flat on the EQ. It's not that impressive, to be honest, so I wouldn't be tempted to upgrade just to get your hard on. Anyway, let's go back to me for a conclusion. So has Kia done the right thing by giving us an electric hatchback? Well, obviously it's a great option for people that don't like the idea of an SUV. And it is quite reassuring to drive a hatchback with proper hatchback driving dynamics. It doesn't roll as much as an SUV, although it is still quite soft as these things go. It's very likeable. The interior is very Kia. It's got all the tech you need, and also it's got a 7-year warranty as well. And it looks like nothing else on the road, which is always a bonus. However, I'm gonna have to mark it down because I just don't really fit in it. I'm 6'3", and that driving seat being that high means I'm just banging my head all the time in it. Otherwise, it's actually quite practical. It's got an okay sized boot and the back seats are okay in the hatchback at least. So yeah, I'm going to give it 8 Tim Roadies out of 10. There's really nothing to dislike about it other than I think it's a little bit too pricey personally, getting on for 40 grand for the one that most people are going to buy. Anyway, hopefully this has helped you if you're in the market for such a thing. If it has, hit like, or if you just like this video, hit like, subscribe to my channel because it really does help me out. Go down to the comments and leave me a load of abuse in Korean, and I'll see you next time, or Slovakian, given that that's where this is made. Goodbye. I need to go and get some lunch. As always, even if it's midnight, I need some lunch.